Welcome into Monday's edition of Just a Minute with Joey Blackwell. I'm Katie Wyndham. After a packed weekend of Alabama sports, if you wanted some Alabama athletics content, just go to BamaCentral from this weekend. We had gymnastics, softball, basketball, baseball, women's basketball, you name it. We had it covered over there on BamaCentral. And any of the other sports that we're in a separate story for, you can catch up on the scores and roll call. But Joey, what we want to talk about with you today is Alabama baseball. They opened the season with a sweep over Richmond. You were at the first two games. What stood out to you about Alabama baseball to open this season and their sweep over the Richmond Spiders?
Yeah, there were several things that stood out. I don't know where to start, but we'll start with starting pitching. The three starters from this weekend all had fantastic games. Grayson hit, obviously, had a great start on Friday, taking over for Garrett McMillan, who was the Friday starter last year, but will be out for the foreseeable future. But he had a 5 inning performance with only, I believe he only allowed one run in that game, 8 strikeouts. Hess on Saturday was just as good, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs allowed, and then Sunday is pretty much the same. You had Jacob McNary he did allow 6 hits in 4 innings, but still only one run out of that. So just really, really solid mound performances from the Crimson Tide starters this weekend. And then that's not even talking about the offense. Between the three games, Alabama was able to outscore them 39-5, which is just an absurd difference. And that's also considering the fact that in those three games, typically between the 6th and 7th innings, Bo was substituting the entire lineup. They probably averaged around 18 players per game between those three games. They were just making substitutions, getting guys experience. And it really highlighted the depth of this team. These weren't freshmen that he was subbing in. Bo was putting in players like, Will Hodo or William Hammader, guys that have played before, that have experience, that you don't want to say they're coming off the bench or serving a bench role, but it does show just how much potential this lineup really has this year and how they really are putting guys that have been weapons in the past. They don't have room for them in the starting lineup. And also a great performance by Matt Gussetti. This is a guy that, obviously a transfer catcher from Florida, came in. We weren't really sure the impact he was going to have, but he was the day one starter at catcher with Dominic Temez shifting over to designated hitter. And Gussetti was the guy that hit the first home run for the Crimson Tide this season. It's just a fantastic weekend for him. And just to highlight an individual player, Andrew Pinckney. It's a guy that we knew was going to be solid. This season he's really had kind of grown a lot over his past couple of years at Alabama, and this year looks to be no different. He's had a solid fielding since his first season with the Crimson Tide, but now his bat has really come along his past 2 years. Finished the weekend batting 8 for 10, which is just, of course, absurd numbers, and had great success. And that's, not even that's also considering the times that he was taken out of the lineup to make room for other guys. So just overall, a fantastic weekend for Alabama baseball. Expectations should be high, but we also have to remember this is a team playing Richmond. They're not going up against a team like Arkansas or Tennessee or Vanderbilt, the powerhouses of the SEC. But that being said, this is a really great start for this Alabama baseball team. It'll be interesting to see just how far they can continue to take this momentum over these next few weeks before conference play.
Yeah, solid starting pitching and production at the plate is pretty much a winning formula 100 times out of 100. So next up for the Crimson Tide is a trip out to Malibu to play Pepperdine this upcoming weekend. But like you said, a successful start for the Crimson Tide. But that will wrap up today's Just a Minute. Thank you so much for watching.